Ladies and gentlemen, the following is another superb episode of the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. In one corner, we have the greatest thing on God's green earth. No, we're not talking about money, Mary Jane, or Popeye spinach. He is the tranquil dart of Ringside Society, Delaware's greatest American hero. And whenever he goes to Taco Bell, he asks for a cheap burrito because he loves the combination of chicken and beef. It takes two to make a thing go right. He's Rob Bass, and you are not. And the second corner, we have that ocean crossing, straight up Boston, flight catching, shot glass snatching. Where's he going next? Nobody knows. Four continents down, two more to go. Worldwide star boy, Remy Blue. But it's not about us. See, we have a special guest tonight. This woman wears several hats, impressive hats in the world of professional wrestling. She's actually a bilingual interviewer. That's right. She could hit you with interviews in English and interviews in Spanish. She's also a ring announcer, and she's also a color commentator, and she's also a graduate of the Hybrid School of Wrestling down there in Texas. Everybody, welcome to the show, Dr. the wife, or is it Doctor the wife? I forgot. My bad.
Doctor the wife. No, you're good. You're good.
Woo! Doctor the wife. How you doing today?
Doing well. How are you? And thank you for the invitation.
Great, great, great. You know, you've been on our radar for a bit when we saw you. Um, and we remember when you were a fan in the stands, you know, supporting, and then all of a sudden we saw that you actually took the step, took that not a lot of fans do take, and joined the industry by either by becoming a ring announcer, color commentator, and interviewer. And we were like, wow, she's in the business now. We got to get her on. I mean, we would have had you on before, but it would have been on our segment 15 Minutes of Fandom, which is where we interview wrestling fans. But when we saw you were in the industry, we're like, yeah, she's on our radar. We got to have her on here very soon.
Well, thank you. I didn't know I was even on your radar. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah. There's people that we should that there's several people that we have on there right at the moment. I always tell people I'm like Professor X. It's like it's not a matter who I could have on, is when I should have them on and how soon.
Right.
Like I got like for example, like I might have this one person over in Atlanta. Yeah, and I got this wrestler over Atlanta, but I got this ring announcer over in California that's real good too. And then I got a referee up in New York, and then I might have like probably like a gear maker over in Chicago. So it's like so many people that to reach out to, and it's just a matter of who I should reach out to first and get on the show ASAP.
I mean, it's even appreciated the fact that you are highlighting people who are not just in the ring, but have
Yeah.
an effect on what goes on in the ring. Gear
Hmm.
makers, especially, because for a person to put their time and energy out into building the vision that a wrestler has for themselves in the ring by their gear. I mean, that's an amazing thing to do. And the fact that you are willing to interview folks that do things outside the ring is phenomenal.
Well, I mean, I do believe that there is a wheel of professional wrestling. Yes, professional wrestlers are the focal point. I mean, it's professional
Right.
wrestling, but you have people that help make that show go around. Like,
Yeah.
for example, you're a ring announcer. One of the things you do is a ring announcer. If it wasn't for you, we would just be seeing two big burly guys or two scrappy looking women actually, just throwing haymakers at each other. We wouldn't know who's from where. So you pretty much hype up the shows. And even when we're watching from the comfort of our homes and we tune into Hybrid School of Wrestling or, whichever, promotion we enjoy, you doing the color commentary, Terry, you're telling us who we're seeing, what we're seeing, and their past, and the past of that person in that ring.
Right. And it's all connected, right? Because not just with the people who make the gear, the folks that who even create the music, because you do have folks that specialize in creating specific tones in the way that people hear how the wrestler's coming in, but also how someone is ring announced, so how the story is told, and even how the story is perpetuated, because the interviewer is going to continue to ask those questions that push that thinking along. So all of it's connected. It's just a matter of understanding how.
Yes, yes, definitely. And another thing I always say is, we've always done here at Ringside Society is we look at WWE as, and I guess AEW now too, as a measuring stick as to as to how we operate. So, case in point, if we would interview, you know, Renee Paquette, if we would interview um Gia Miller over at WWE, and um Tony Schiavone,
Hmm.
the late great Mean Gene Oakland, if he was still alive. Why not a doctor or wife?
Yeah.
Why not her? The
Yeah.
only difference the difference between you and them is that the companies they work for have a big production team
Right.
behind them. That's really
Right.
what it is. That
Yeah.
gets exposure internationally. You
Hmm.
take that away, they're pretty much doing the same thing as you.
Yeah.
No
And a lot
disrespect to
of us
them.
really, because I'm not the only one. There's a lot of us out there that not many know about, that we are there doing the hard work, whether we're doing it in front of the camera or behind it.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, even your job is important because you get to share with the fans on your end people that they may have never seen before, that they may even get excited to see once they step into the arena and watch the show. I mean, it's all of it's connected. Yeah.
Funny thing you mentioned that. I remembered I had two guests, female. I think they were females. One such. I'm gonna go a bit off. It's a little bit off the tangent. One of them, she was in California,
Mm,
and she hadn't even debuted yet. She had just been like a manager and so on. And
right.
I have her on there, and next thing you know, I had a promoter contact me and ask me, "Dude, who was that girl? Who was that woman?" I told him who she was, and I told him she hasn't debuted yet. She's gonna debut soon, but she hasn't debuted yet. And then there was another woman. This one I would never forget. She was actually on our show too, and she was like, "Oh, I don't know if I should actually go on your show. I don't think anybody's. I mean, I'm fairly new. I don't think anybody's gonna watch and whatnot." Lo and behold, when she gets on the show, and this is a promotion I know you know very well because you're in Texas. When she gets on the show, and we're interviewing her, while we're interviewing her, who is in the comments section? Mission Pro Wrestling.
Right.
So yeah, you're right. You never know who's
You
watching.
never know. Yeah, exactly. You never know who's watching. You never know who's connected to who, and you never know what opportunities and experiences that you're opening yourself up to. It's just a matter of making sure you understand everybody's role is important. Everyone's, not
Oh
just the
yes.
promoter, not just the booker, not just the wrestler. Everyone's role is connected in some way, and everybody's role is just as important as the person in front of the camera.
Oh yes. So I gotta ask you. I normally ask 99% of our guests that we have on this show because we like to give the our viewers and listeners a bit of a backstory as to our guests. How did it start for you? How did your fandom for professional wrestling start?
I mean, it starts the same way it starts for a lot of folks. I'm an 80s baby, so WWF at the time, WWE, you're watching your favorite wrestlers, always looking for the one that will resonate with you the most. And that was always a thing for me whenever I watch a show is, can I find something about that show that will keep me locked in and glued to it? At the time, WWF, WWE now, was what kept me locked in because I enjoyed watching the just the level of professionalism, the it's just, it was fun to watch at the time. And then as I got older and college life, things like that, I come back to it because of course we keep going to it, we keep taking a break from it. I love the Attitude Era. Stone Cold was my favorite. I watched Sting in WCW. um but when I came back to it, it was actually my husband. We were watching a podcast which was going through a lot of the things that was going on for WWF, now WWE, back in the 80s and moving into the present. So again, relearning that history, understanding what was going on at the time, surrounding the events that happened for certain pay-per-views, certain matches, certain shows, things like that, which led him to want to also start a podcast that focused on Joshi wrestling in Japan. So we focused on discussing a lot of what was going on there through Stardom. And I happened to take interest in wanting to translate for one particular wrestler, Maria Pachi, because my husband and his friend were not able to translate what they were saying at the time. So I was able to pick up what they were saying and understand it. And from there, watching Maria Pachi's matches, I started watching more Stardom matches, which got me back into it, which led into watching wrestling in person here in Texas. And
Mm.
then just continuing to go to shows and expanding my view on wrestling with regards to seeing other promotions and enjoying other wrestling outside of just women's wrestling, and going from there. And it was one interview I had with a wrestler that got me into it, because basically her view on it after having a deep discussion with another colleague was, well, if they can do it, why can't I? And that's, I asked myself the same question. I enjoy it. I love talking to folks. I love talking shop, regardless of what industry you're in. I love talking shop, and I enjoy just the person to person connection you get to make with, not just as a fan to the wrestler and as a fan to the promotion, but from one person to another. And so I decided to go out and find a school that would, open themselves up to teaching, teaching me how to get into the industry in a way that I was comfortable with, because not everyone is willing to go in the ring and go through the injuries, through the pain. Not everyone's able to do that. Not that I'm not able to, I just wanted to go in a different angle. So I found the Hybrid School of Wrestling was open to teaching commentary, ring announcing, and interviews. And so I went through their program, and as I was going through their program, also had experiences that fed into my learning and understanding of what it's like to work with other folks within the wrestling arena. And I went from there.
Wow, that's awesome. I gotta say, like I said, I congratulate you for actually, taking that step. Not a lot of fans can do it. Not a lot of fans can do it successfully because it's not easy to get in,
No,
you
no,
know.
you're right. It's not
But
easy to get in because it's a lot of work that you're putting in, not just in the job that you're seeking itself, but also in the connections you're making and the networking that you're doing and things like that. Not all connections you make are great ones, and that's within any industry. Not every connection is going to be as fruitful as the ones that you didn't think would pan out in any way. So it's just a matter of learning how to address folks and make connections that are not just worth the effort, but also that resonate within you as a meaningful relationship you can have with a person or a group of people or a promotion.
yeah, that's pretty awesome. So your husband's a wrestling fan too?
Yes.
Wow. I'll tell
I
you
mean,
what.
even further back than what I was identifying. I mean, Von
I don't
Erich.
know if he goes by Dr. The husband. Tell Dr. The husband that we wouldn't mind having him on the show if he's interested as well. He's more than welcome to be on here.
Well, I'll let Doctor the husband know, and then just funny enough, he actually is a doctor. I mean, he worked his way through school and got his doctorate. I'm almost there. I'm almost there.
Okay. So is that what? So that's why you call yourself. That's why you go by the name. Because when I first saw, I was like, wait a minute. I didn't even have to see the Dominican flag. I'm like, wait a minute. Is she Dominican? Like, I don't want to assume,
No, no,
but
you're
but then
not assuming. No, you're right.
but then I saw Dr. The wife, and I was like, okay, that's a pretty neat spin on it. That's a pretty cool moniker to have
Yeah,
as well.
it has a lot of history, the moniker itself, because one, it's a quiet nod to in the name to my heritage, but also it's because, like I just said, I've also been working on my doctorate as well. And then there's the fact that it's from a cartoon that me and my husband watched a lot together, and we just enjoy the heck out of it. I'm not sure if anybody's heard of Venture Brothers.
Oh yeah, oh
Right.
wow. I was just thinking about that. I kid you not. I was just thinking about that cartoon today. Actually, I kid you not.
Well, Dr. Girlfriend is where I got it from because I really enjoyed her character. Very smart person. And as funny as it is, and I've even had a person tell me you might not want to go that route. Her voice is quite low. I mean, I get it. To me, it's funny considering the fact that she's also a very highly intelligent woman to go through and not only support her husband, the monarch, but be able to be successful in any side of the fence that she finds herself in, whether it's the a henchwoman or the hero.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So, and it's funny that people for some reason mistake me, and I'm not saying this. I'm not just saying this. It's funny because some people tend to mistake me for being Dominican. I don't know why. They're like, "Are you Dominican?" No, I'm not. Like especially if I grow my beard out and everything. Like, are you Dominican? Nah, 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 nah. Like I've had my own. I mean, obviously I'm black, but they're like, black people come to me like, "You Dominican?" And I had one woman come to me. She was African American. She's like, "Hola, cómo está?" I'm like, "Huh?" She's like, "You're not Hispanic?" I'm like, "No." And I'm like, "Do I really look Dominican?" Like, I could not believe it. I'm like, "No, I'm just Guyanese with a little bit of with some mixture. That's all." But thanks for the
I mean, and that
compliment.
could
But
also
yeah,
be attributed with the fact that, I mean, in the Caribbean, in some way, shape, or form, if you dial it all the way down to its basic parts, we're probably cousins related in some way, you know? So we have some markers about us that are very similar. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I mean, the Dominicans had the Taino Indians. Guyana, which is my native country, had the Arawaks and the Caribs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a matter of like people that decided, hey, something, I'm good here. I'm gonna settle here. You guys can
Mm-hmm.
go on. I'll
Go
see you
over
guys on the
there.
flip side when I see
Mm-hmm.
you. So it's
Yep.
just it could be that.
Yep.
Speaking of Dominican Republic, we've had several um Dominican wrestlers in the past. Get
Really?
some shine. We've had of course Noe Jose in
Mm-hmm.
WWE. We have had Marty Bell, who
Yes.
has been killing it in NWS. One half of the Hex, who I got to meet in person. Really
Oh,
cool
she's
person.
awesome. Yes, I love her. Yes.
And then of course there's of course the late great Jack Banana, who was the first ever NWA world heavyweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
And there's several others. There was one more, I forgot what her name was. She's actually up here in New York. She travels a lot. I forgot what her name is. It's probably going to get back to me. Um, her name, and I just saw her the other day with La Rosa Negra in Las Vegas, and she actually, um, I think her gimmick is like she deals with the weather. It'll probably get back to me. But when you
Mm-hmm.
see those men and women, of Dominican heritage, like what was going through your mind to hear about Jack Banano, and then to
I
see
mean,
like Noe Jose and Marty
I get
Bell.
excited. I get super excited. You want to talk about a pop, man? I get very happy to see when the Dominican Republic is represented in some way, whether I see the flag posted or if it's a wrestler that is of Dominican descent, even if it's Caribbean. Because La Rosa Negra, she was the one that got me hooked on women's wrestling in Texas. Period. Straight through. Every time she showed up, I was ready to receive that the Caribbeanness of the way that she carries herself. I mean, I remember when she smacked at the time Maddie Rankowski, which
Mhm.
is now Ren Sinclair, and she gave her such a shot to the face that you understood what that meant in every language.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, and I almost fell out of my seat going, "Oh my god, I knew exactly what she said in just that shot that she gave her." Yeah. Yeah, but I get excited every time I see a Dominican wrestler, even a Caribbean wrestler, because
Oh,
it it is one that is something that's not has not always been represented as well back in my youth, but seeing it now as I'm older, I'm very happy to see that, you know, it's a nice mix of everyone in wrestling nowadays.
yeah. Oh, JC Storm. That's who I was thinking of. Met her several times. Really cool person, but yeah, man. I'm glad to see that a lot of people like from all over the world are getting a chance, and they don't have to really like be some. Because I remember back in the day, you'd have somebody that's from like you know one country, but they would actually say, "Oh, they're from another country."
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
for example, and this was what really bugged me. I'm like, Tongaloa, who's
Mhm.
now in the bloodline. The one time at one point he was the only Tongan wrestler on the WWE's roster, and they tried to they try to bill him as being from, like, as being Mexican. So I'm like, what are you guys doing?
Mhm.
The one Tongan guy, you're not billing him from Tonga? Like, what's going on? And then
Right.
they try to do this the same thing with Ezekiel Jackson,
Mhm.
who's a fellow Guyanese.
Mhm.
And they're like, from Harlem, New York. I'm like, no, what are you guys doing? He's from Guyana, and we
And it
speak
breaks your heart,
English.
doesn't it? Just a little bit to hear that who he is not representing, because you definitely will resonate with who he is and where he's from. Like, don't
Oh
erase
yeah,
that.
yeah, definitely. But I'm glad they changed that, and I'm
Mhm.
glad to see, like, people from all walks of life getting to represent their cultures. Because I always say, representation is huge.
Yeah. You're
Representation
right.
counts, and it also builds inspiration in people that are
Right.
the people that are watching. So
Right. And it keeps them watching because you build a connection just from the fact that you know where they come from, that you know what neighborhood they may have been from just by listening to their accent, because every country has specific ways of speaking, saying certain words depending on what part of that country they're from. You know exactly where they're from.
oh yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
So I gotta. So you've actually been. I think you've been a commentator for. You've been in the business for what, 2 years now, right? 3 years now.
Yeah, just a couple years.
Okay, so throughout your journey, from going from fan to ring announcer, color commentator, interviewer, you've actually learned the ropes through hybrid school of wrestling. What is the most profound thing you have learned so far since being in the industry?
Well, one, that it takes time. Just because you've seen me only just a couple years doesn't mean that I haven't been doing things in the background for longer than that, because it does take time to develop, just even the ability to get up there, get on the mic, and just do whatever it is you want to do, even to make that connection with a fan. It does take time and effort to learn more about yourself, to be able to make those connections, because once you're in there in that ring with that mic in your hand and you have fear and you shrink yourself, you're not showing the fans who you are as much as you are just present in physically in the ring. You want to show your presence in more than just standing in there with the mic in your hand. You want to build a connection, you want to talk to them, you want to play with them sometimes. So it's a process that it does take a lot longer than just a year or two in a school and a year or two in the industry. It does take a lot of knowing yourself and working in other avenues to build up who you are and what you do, in order for you to take that skill and put it into wrestling, for example, and evolve that and make it into something new and fresh. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
um Other things that I've learned in this experience is that you do have to work hard, because, and not just work hard wherever you're at, but work hard on yourself, because not everybody's going to clap for you. Not is And that's the reality. Not everybody's going to clap for you, not everybody's going to support. Even the most diehard, you think they're in your corner, it may be that the stranger that you just met may be the bigger fan than the person you've known for years. You just have to
true,
clap for yourself and just move forward.
true, true. So um, in regards to your career as a ring announcer and color commentator, is there anybody that you can think of that actually inspires you with what you that has actually inspired you with what you do, you know, in the wrestling industry, with the three hats that you wear in the wrestling industry? Like with what we do, like with me here, I would say my inspiration is, like, I guess you could say Mean Gene Okerlund, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and my mentor George Alonso would be another one that I would list. But who would you say are your influences in regards to color commentary, ring announcing, and um interviewing?
As far as inspiration, I don't want to call them inspiration as much as who do I draw from? Why do I draw from them? And what do I draw from them? You know what I mean? a lot of folks will say, "Oh, Samantha Irving for ring announcing, Lillian Garcia." There's so many more beyond them though that have come before them that have done such a great job. Even the males in wrestling and outside of it wrestling, um, that have contributed so much in just the little ways that they have done, that you can't deny that even they have an influence on you. The buffers, of course, in any facet that you would find them, whether it be boxing or UFC, they have contributed in their way what it is to be a ring announcer, because it's more than just your voice. It is also your personality. It is how invested are you in the personality that you are introducing. Um, for interviews, of course, like you said, Mean Gene Orkelin. I love watching Mean Gene, especially when it comes to those deadpan reactions that he has to just the most outrageous things that happen in front of him. Um, what do you draw from that? Like, what out of that experience can you pull and then use yourself that not only will help you engage better, but make it more fun for yourself? And as far as commentary, I just draw from things that I enjoy seeing, but more so, um, I listen to whoever is around me at that time as well, because I can't deny the fact that as famous as those folks are in the WWE, AEW, NWA, WCCW, for example. I mean, let's go further back. Um, I also draw from people that are around me that I enjoy listening to, that I enjoy the personalities of, and I work off of that. Because one of the things that I don't want to do is become a carbon copy. Oh, this is so and so 2.0. I don't want to do that. I take what I can from them and evolve it into my style of way of being, which is why I'm saying I don't look at them on that pedestal in such a way where I'm gonna shoot for that and be that. But I do learn from that. I do enjoy it, and I also try to see how do I draw what they are exuding into my personality, and then make that my own.
Awesome, awesome. So I just got two more questions. 'Cause I know Rob is chomping at the bit right now. So you are like the first person. Maybe we had people, maybe we had somebody before, but you're like the first person who was actually working towards their doctorate and in the business. Um, with
Actually, there's
your
others. There are actually others that have been working for their doctorate, if not already have them. So I'm not
Yeah.
the only one. And it isn't something that we all like, oh, we're gonna no, it is a moment of triumph for folks that do work on that, because
Mhm.
it is a process. Like I said earlier, it is a long process, and you do have to show a lot of patience in order for you to be able to make it through it, because it is a tough one as well.
Yeah. When I meant like the first one, I meant like first person on Ringside Society that's been
Okay.
on our show. That's what I was getting at. So has your the journey for your doctorate, have the studies you've actually done for your doctorate, have they by any chance how have they helped you with your ring announcing, color commentary, um interviewing career? Have they helped you in any shape or form, or
Yeah. Yeah.
have they not?
Yeah. Well, first of all, for commentary, you have to be a really good researcher. You have to be one who is interested in learning the stories of those wrestlers, not just learning their stories, but following them. Because in a lot of the studies that you will do, you will have to have long-term data on whatever it is that you're studying. So, same with wrestling. There's a lot of wrestlers that I've seen over the course of a few years that I know their story as it's evolved based on not just watching as a fan, but also carefully watching as a researcher to be able to tell their story on commentary. So research is one of the big things for me that I think I've carried over from my studies into this. Interviews, you learn how to interview folks as a researcher as well. And not just asking the same demographic questions: where are you from, how old are you, how long have you been wrestling, but also just digging deeper and finding out more about what their motivation was to become that type of wrestler in strong style. What is it that drew them to being a death match not just aficionado, but a death match guru practically, because we have folks who have redefined what death match is and how it also contributes to wrestling, because any type of wrestling that you're watching is contributing to the whole fabric of wrestling, pro wrestling in some way. uh but interviews also is something I've carried over, as well as just having the basic personality to get to know a person, because it's more than just putting your hand out and saying, hello, my name is. It's also, making them comfortable with who you are and what you're about, because a lot of what I carry over is also from other industries. I do believe in mission and visions of promotions. And if their mission and vision aligns and resonates with me, of course, I'm gonna put 120%. I know mathematically that's not correct for you math aficionados out there, but um, I do put forth a lot more effort when I notice that their mission and vision aligns with what I feel is makes what they're doing a great contribution to pro wrestling. Am I the one to decide what a great contribution is? No, of course, because it is my opinion on what that is. But at the same time, when you're saying something like women empowerment, yeah, I'm gonna be behind that. When you're saying things like deathmatch has a place here in wrestling, yeah, I can see how that is, especially when I see the effort, the love, the just the life that is being put into that. So
Oh
when
yeah.
it comes to what I'm carrying over from my studies, there's a lot of things I carry over, but more specifically, it is research, getting to know the wrestler, because like I said, ring announcing, commentary, and interview, they're all connected. You just have to understand how and why in order for you to be able to do the best job possible.
Cool, cool. So we're fresh off the heels of W Evolution. All it was all about the ladies. Men take a back seat, go somewhere, eat some hot Cheetos, have a root beer. We don't want to see you. The spotlight is on the ladies. What was your reaction? Because last night, me, I thought they killed it. They knocked it out the park. But what was your reaction as a woman in the industry when you saw that whole event?
I mean, it redefines what we know about it, because as we've seen from in the 90s coming into today, there has definitely been an evolution. Women
Hmm.
have shown not just their strength physically, but their strength mentally, their strength emotionally as they go into that ring and just put it all out there. I mean, whether you love them, whether they love each other, hate each other, they put all their emotions out there, and they make sure not only do the fans understand what was going on and how that went down, but also the growth that that lady has put in as she has grown into her own as the person who she's become. Because there's a lot of wrestlers, even on the big stage, in the big screens, on in the big rings, that have grown with us, that we have seen from when they first started to now where they are. So it just makes you feel good, not just the fact that they have grown as warriors, not just women wrestlers, warriors, but they've also grown as people who represent where they're from. You know what I mean? And we've talked about this a little earlier in the show about how representation matters. Yeah, it does. Because not only are they representing themselves as women, but they're representing themselves as people from other locations. Um, I resonate well with someone like La Rosa Negra. Now that she's in bigger rings, having bigger matches, now I feel good about that. Then I move on to see who else can represent like she does. I move on to the another ring and see in WWE who represents and how they do so, and whether or not they carry themselves well. It matters. So it makes me happy to see the evolution and where we have how far we've come. It's just I'm hoping that that evolution continues forward and not revert back.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I always said that. And I don't mean to say this negatively, but this is just how I feel. Like there was. I always said that the real evolution started with Trish and Lita,
Hmm.
because we'd never seen a woman doing a moonsault before. At least
Hmm.
not in America. We've never seen a like a women's hardcore match until 2000, Survivor Series 2002, Trish Stratus versus Victoria. But then along came the Divas era, which I say was like 2004, starting 2004, and it started with the Divas search, and I was like, I don't like this at all. I mean, now Vince is just looking through a modeling catalog and saying, "Hey, she looks beautiful. She could be a wrestler. She could be a champion in my, promotion." And this is no slight to them. If that's how he's gonna do it, fine. But I just felt that they were being held back, and like the bra and panties matches and the pillow fight match. I'm like, and I'm this is a guy. Me, I grew up watching like Alondra Blaze, Heidi
Mm,
Morgan, who we were blessed to have on the show. The first women's wrestling match I saw on VHS. I'm an '80s baby too. Was the Survivor Series 1987 match with Team Moolah versus
mhm,
Team Sensational Sherry, who I
mhm.
didn't know was a wrestler and a heck of a good one at the time. So like growing up and seeing all of that, and then to see go from that to this, I was like, what are Vince? I said it's like Vince. What are we doing, man? We shouldn't. This just isn't it. Granted, I never took a bathroom break during the matches because if I'm watching wrestling, I'm watching wrestling. But or as they say, because they said the divas matches were bathroom break matches, which in no, I mean, you know, if I had to go somewhere or I had to like get another like drink or something, I'd
Yeah,
go. I mean, it could have been anybody, John Cena. If I got to get up to refresh and get some food, that's what it was.
yeah.
But yeah, I always thought that was like they kind of like did a detour, and then when I finally saw people like AJ Lee and Paige, the now Saraya Knight or
Mhm.
Saraya, and Charlotte Flair coming up and doing what she's doing, and Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks and Bailey and Alexa Bliss. I was like, okay, we're back on track now.
Right.
They're
I
finally
mean,
doing
not
the
just
right
that
thing.
and talent, but imagine even the physicality, the physique that a lot of these women took. Um, a lot of them broke molds, just in looking the way they did, which set the stage for other wrestlers to tell them it's okay to put on a few muscles and go up in a few pounds. I mean, um, there's Viper in Stardom. She was a big lady, but very talented, and
Hmm.
she made her
Oh, I
way
know.
over to WWE, right?
Right.
It's okay to be that. You have uh, so many others that don't fit the mold of what we have seen in the '90s, which was the division. And again, I'm not going to knock them either because it does take a lot of guts to do what they did as well. So, and there were a lot of them who have grown to be very famous, very popular wrestlers as well. But, outside of that division, there were a lot of wrestlers who now are being seen for who they are, talented warriors, talented athletes, not just beautiful women. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. By the way, I'm hoping Piper gets a run because I know what she could do on the Indies. I don't think the mainstream fans are ready to see what that woman could really do on her own. But if you know, you know.
If you know, you know, right? If exactly, and for those of us who have seen her in the past in other places, it's just a matter of time before they do finally realize who they have on their hands, and then let her go for it like she did before.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass over to Rob. Kind of Rob has a couple of questions. Rob, go ahead, man. The floor is yours.
All right, sweet. Thanks, Remy. So what's going on, Doctor the White? How are you doing? How's that Texas weather treating you?
It's doing well. Actually, it's actually nicer today. A little bit wet, but you know what? We'll be all right.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it was. I'm over here in Delaware, so we got that,
Oh, I know
humidity,
where Delaware is. I used
awful
to live in
stuff.
Jersey.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have family in Cherry Hill.
Do ya? I live close by
Yeah.
Cherry Hill. Well,
Oh,
relatively.
okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I used to. I've gone to. Yeah, yeah. See, I was born in '82, so I'm an '80s baby also, and I used to go to camp up there like during the summer, and all this stuff. Yeah, so yeah, I know a lot about Jersey, even though I am country. So, being out there in Texas, I do got. Do you have any? I'm always curious. Do you have those armadillos around your house and stuff? You know, what I mean, are they for real creatures? Are they real things?
I don't have armadillos around my house, but we
Oh,
do
okay.
try to avoid them as much as possible. From what I understand, if you have the unfortunate luck to drive over them and they're scared, they will destroy the bottom of your car. That's never
Oh,
happened to
wow.
me. Knock on wood, that it never does. But yeah, we do have the armadillos, and I have not had any encounters with them, thank goodness, and hopefully never do.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that because yeah, where I'm at, I have raccoons, deer, rabbits, the normal stuff. Nothing that's going,
Yeah, we
except the
have all
deer.
those
Deer will mess
too.
you up. Yeah, deer will mess you up though. They'll
Oh
mess a
yeah,
car up.
I found out. Yep, they're no
Yeah.
joke when you run into them.
Oh yeah, I was yesterday. I was leaving my house to go to the store, and when I was backing out of my driveway, somebody, I live like right on the corner by a stop sign. Somebody had their flash breaker on, go turn right, and I said, and they were just sitting there, right? So I'm like, I wonder why they're sitting there. So I'm thinking like maybe they're just trying to find the right road or something. Like is this right? Plus I have houses up here. Maybe they're trying to look for that. So anyway, I'm driving, and they make that right, and I pull up, and I get the stop sign. They were over there taking pictures and stuff because there's a deer coming out of my woods, going across the street, and the babies were over there at the ditch, and there's all like that. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, what in the world? That deer just looking at me like, I was like, she was over there taking this lady taking pictures of the deer.
Ah,
Oh man, it's great. So becoming a doctor. I actually have a cousin who recently became a doctor. He's for psychology, yeah, psychology, and he's like 31, 32. So did you? Was it a lot of years of schooling for you too? Because that book learning for me, I was good at like 12, and then I had to go work in a coal mine. So
well, it depends on what field you go into. I did not go into
okay.
the medical field, and I'll let anybody who's willing to try to figure out what field I went into. But yeah, it does take a lot of time out of your life because you're essentially dedicating yourself to study. Um,
Hmm.
will that always get you the top professorship? It depends really on what it is you're seeking and what type of doctorate you're going for. Um, but essentially, yeah, it is a lot of time that you're putting into it, a lot of effort, especially when it comes time to write your dissertation.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Now, were your fellow classmates and stuff when you're like, yeah, I'm going to the hybrid school, to go start training? Did they give you some looks like, what? Are
No,
you
because it
serious?
wasn't something that I burst in the door and say, I didn't go in there doing that.
Okay.
I went in there just like anybody else went in there to learn, I just, whenever I needed some time to go back and work on my paper, I would tell my coach, hey, just quietly, I can't come today because, or, can't come this week because I have a paper for school, and it's kind of rough, and they understood, so it wasn't
Hmm.
something I told my colleagues. It was just something I let my
Okay.
coach know so they knew why I wasn't showing up that day.
Okay. I got you. I got you. Now, the learning, doing, backstage announcing, commentating, ring announcing. Now, trained in the school, did you have to learn, taking bumps, running the ropes? Because I had to do that. I ring announce and all that too, for 1CW. And yeah, I had to learn how to run the ropes. I had to learn how to take a bump. I've sat there. I've done, battle royal matches. I've had Adriana Mosley, hit me so hard that I forgot how to sit down. So So did you have to learn all that stuff too?
No, and as
Oh
far as
no.
physically, did I have to learn how to do that? No.
Okay.
But do I have to learn about it? Yes. You have to understand what it is that they're doing, why they're doing
Hmm.
it, what to call it. Uh, you don't call everything that they work on when they are in the gym, but you do have to at least be able to understand it, So yeah, I did a
Hmm.
lot of observing. I still do. I don't stop observing. I don't stop watching matches. It's just a matter of figuring out what you're verbally going to do with that information and weave a story out of it. But as far as physically, no, I haven't gotten in the ring to do any of that. I'm not going to because it is something that I do highly respect the people that are doing it, and I
Oh
don't
yeah.
want to get in the ring and make it look like I'm making fun of it or just trying out just because it is something that they put a lot of their time and lives into, just like you would a doctorate. These folks are putting a lot of their time and lives into it,
Oh
and
yeah.
it would be just horrible for somebody to go in and not do what they're doing at their best. So I
Hmm.
rather show respect to what they're doing by learning about it, by observing it, by understanding it. And in my way, I'm paying respect to it.
That's right. Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm all cool. Doing whatever you do. Hey, do your thing. You know what I mean? So I was actually doing well, you said, like, doing, well, I was doing research and stuff, and I learned that we have a couple mutual friends, and, they're sisters, and they're
Okay.
well, they're twins, you know what I mean,
Okay.
by the name of Renegades and stuff, so,
Yes.
yeah, so, yeah, when was the last time you talked to them? 'Cause I haven't talked to them in, like, a little bit or whatever. I used to see them all the time, wrestling and stuff, and, even Ma Dukes was like, if I'm coming to Delaware to watch y'all win the championship, I'm meeting Rob Bates. I met all that, so.
It's been a bit because, of course, as you know, they've been very busy. They've
Oh yeah.
Robin and Charlotte have been extremely busy, especially
Oh
in
yeah.
in the big rings over at AW. So, it's been a while, but it's we still keep in touch by just doing what a lot of us do, sharing our love through the socials, being fans,
Yeah.
and watching their matches.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. On Instagram, something talking on the stories like, oh man, that fires like, oh yeah, I know, da, 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 how you doing? I was fan, yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, so, yeah, I haven't seen them in a long time, but yeah, they're awesome. I love those guys. They're awesome. I hope nothing but the best.
Yeah, of course.
That's awesome. So being bilingual and stuff, do you when you do commentary, is there like you said earlier, sometimes you'll translate or whatever. Do you always have to translate or whatever, and or sometimes you just do whatever you want, whatever.
Well, so far I've gotten to do it at a couple of promotions, and it's not really translating as much as it's just going off the cuff and just going for it and talking about what I
Mm,
see. I haven't yet had a partner that can bounce with me, bounce off me,
hmm.
just work with him in Spanish. So I look forward to the day that I do get to sit next to someone who can carry a conversation with me and we can just go back and forth. But up to this point, it's just been me having fun at the desk with two others or one other who
Hmm.
they say something, I'll translate and go off and say something else because sometimes they can't catch what I'm saying, sometimes they can. I try to be as visual as possible when I speak with my
Yeah.
hands so they kind of can tell where I'm getting at. Um, but it's not really something that I script as much as I'm watching and I just go for it.
That's awesome. Yeah, see, I would always love to learn another language, Spanish, Italian, yeah, anything, but I'm so country. I feel like if I did, people would think I'm disrespecting their language. I can't be over here like me gusta, you know, muchos grande, it's like, because I'd be like, I need a taco and a corn tortilla. It's like, oh no.
Well, I mean, interestingly enough, it's not really disrespectful. You trying, as long as you're trying, ask
Yeah.
questions, listen, understand. It actually makes a person feel good that you're making the attempt, and
Hmm.
trying to learn how to make the sounds. It's not easy for everyone, so it's not like, oh my gosh, you're gonna get an F for that. No, it's thank you for trying. I caught some of what you were saying. Sometimes you'll have somebody who will even help you out and say try saying it like this. So it's not really
Hmm.
disrespectful. Is that this Can I say the same for other people? No, unfortunately you will have those folks who will take high offense to it and just whatever. But I actually appreciate folks who are willing to learn, and not
Yeah.
using it as a way to get clout or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm willing to teach anybody who's interested.
That's pretty awesome. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I can barely speak English. I barely pass English and stuff, and that's what the country I live in and the main language. So yeah, it'd take me a while to learn some stuff.
Well, it's like I said, it's a process. It's not something that you're gonna learn overnight.
Hmm. That's right. I would like to learn like Mandarin or something, because I love kung fu movies and stuff. You know what I mean? I could just instead of having the subtitles on, reading, trying to go like that. I can just like, oh, I'm good. Yeah, ready to roll. Let's roll.
I mean, the only thing you need is the willingness to try.
There you go. That's right. That's right. So being over there in Texas, going through shows and stuff and all that. do you have any crazy travel stories? Because out here in Texas, they're it's like, yeah, you can drive 8 hours and you're still in the state. You know what I mean? Like here in
Yeah.
Delaware, I can get from one side of the state to the other in 30 minutes. You know what I mean? So, have you ever come across any crazy creatures, on your travels, Bigfoot, chupacabra or anything like that, anything wild?
Do you come across wild animals? Yes. I do come across deer sometimes, especially in deer season. Have I come across anything crazy? No. I
Oh,
generally try to stay out of country roads, especially during deer season, late at night. I try to stay on 35 as much as possible. Do I know folks that have had wild stories? Yes. Actually, my husband had an encounter with a bear, and he
ooh,
didn't know it was a bear until he stepped out of his truck and noticed it was a bear. And this was
oh,
in the dead of night as well. Um, is he the only one? No, I'm pretty sure others have had some encounters with boars and things like that. But I think the
mm.
most wild one I've heard was him encountering a bear.
Oh yeah, yeah, I definitely would have. Yeah, I'd soil myself.
Yeah.
Going across the bear. Yeah, I almost did one time. I went outside one night and a possum, was went and hissed, and I was like, nope, I'm gone. I'm going
Yeah.
back in. Nope. Yeah, it started hissing and stuff. I about soiled myself then. I was like, yeah, no, a
Oh,
bear. Yeah, yeah, no, I can't do that. So, when's your next show coming up? Do you have anything this month, coming up that we fans need to check you out at, at or next month? Are you booked up for next couple weeks or anything?
yeah. I have Uncanny coming up soon. Always a fun, fantastic show to go to if you're in the Austin area at the Highland Lounge. I always have fun. I learn a lot, especially when I go to Highland Lounge and see the fantastic shows that Uncanny puts on. They did one that I still to this day will never forget. It was called I don't remember if it was Black Fairy Magic or something. It was before that one, but they literally had a D&D match with dice and everything. We'll never forget that. So fun. You can watch. I think it's on either IWTV or Title Match. I'm also, I believe, Pro Wrestling Element is also having their show this month toward the end of the month. Matt War Pro is also having their show this month. Hybrid School of Wrestling has a show coming up as well. Premier Wrestling Entertainment. I mean, there's a lot of shows going on this month, especially in the latter half of July. August, SOAR Championship Wrestling, actually SOAR Championship Worldwide is having their show at the beginning of the month. Phoenix Lucha Libre just had their show over at Giant Distillery in Houston, and that was a fun show as well. So upcoming past shows, I would say Title Match is a great way to catch some of the shows that have already happened. And then New Texas Pro, of course, is also having their showcase coming up as well.
Oh, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Yeah, so it seems like you're staying pretty busy doing your thing. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
I'm
all for that.
just out
You know,
here having fun and making sure that it's fun for everyone else, especially the fans.
yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. That's awesome. Now, I do gotta ask you, whenever you're ring announcing, do you ever have like the refs or wrestlers come up and mess with you? Because whenever I'm refing, our ring announcer Morgan, bless her heart, or I'll sit there and mess with her. Like, it'll be somebody we know and train with and stuff, and I'll just be like, they're a piece of garbage or something. And she'll sit there and she's like,
Well,
if you watch it on TV, like
yeah.
depending on where the hard cam is, you can see me just, and she's just like, well, she'll just do like I'm just like messing with her. And if I'm if I'm ring announcing, I do the same thing to the ref. You know what I mean? And it's like. You know, do you ever do that, or do they ever do that to you?
I have had some refs, sometimes wrestlers that have come up and try to break me, and I mean, the most you'll see me do is or just react to what they're saying. Um, but I try not to have any conversations because of course the mic is always live, and you have to when you're up there with a
Yeah.
mic always understand that the mic is always live. Whether you hear yourself or not, you don't know whether the production is live streaming somewhere and the feed from whatever your mic is pulling is going on to the masses at home, or if it's going to be fed through the speakers in the venue that you're at. So I generally not try not to have any conversations in the ring with anyone. I let them talk to me, and that's fine. But I always work with a live mic, so I try not to make any noticeable verbal responses.
There you go. That's pretty cool. You know what I mean? So yeah, so you pretty much stay composed. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll ask them later because sometimes I just can't hear what they're saying. It's
Hmm.
just that loud, and so I'll ask them later. What did you say in there? Because I didn't hear you. It
Oh,
was a little
okay.
loud in there. But I'll
Okay,
always
I
give a
got you. I got
reaction depending on what it is that is going on.
I got you. I got you. I got you. Yeah, I just like telling jokes. You know what I mean? Sometimes it just makes me like, oh Lord. So, before I pass it on back to Raymond, I do got to ask, see, I'm always stuck watching like, the same movies and TV shows all the
Oh,
time.
I do
Is there
that.
anything new you're watching, or TV shows that you've been watching you can recommend? Like I actually did see Superman yesterday, so
Oh, I did
that's
too.
something new. But other than that, like I'm watching Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I've been watching Abbott Elementary, stuff like that over and over. So I'm always trying to find something new. So do you have
Um,
anything that you've been
it,
into?
I did see Superman yesterday. I actually enjoyed that because it was a it was a nice take on the lore, especially when you know a lot of what you've seen with Superman is repeating the history. This one didn't go too in detail, which was I appreciated. As far as series that I'm watching over and over again, um there's two that I watched every now and then, just binge on them. It's one's Ghost UK and one is Ghosts. So the UK version of the series was the first, and then here in the United States, we made a another our version of it, which I
Hmm.
enjoy watching. I watch Elsbeth. I like to watch a lot of documentaries as well. Some cop shows, Elsbeth being one of them, which is more like a lawyer show. And I think it's a spin-off of The Good Wife. I don't remember. I also watch Matlock, the updated version. It's with I forgot it. I think it's Catherine Bates. I don't remember. Maybe I'd have to look it up. But
I think
that,
so.
and then there's animes I watch on repeat as well. Full Metal Alchemist I love watching on repeat. Trigun I watch on repeat a lot. I also watch sometimes I'll go into Seven Deadly Sins. The later half of it I'm all right with, but the earlier stuff I enjoy. But it depends really what it is, what my mood is, what I'm wanting to hear. But I'll typically do a lot of documentaries. I'll watch a lot of those. I don't know why. It's just entertaining to listen to when you're washing dishes or, doing a DIY project.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. Now is it like the killing ones where it's like my next door neighbor's crazy or whatever. It's like because I like listening to the ones they're like telling scary stories like this crazy thing happened to this person. You know what I mean? Like something supernatural. You know what I mean? So
I've watched
well,
a lot of
do you or
those.
you do both?
I've seen a lot of those. I actually have watched a lot of documentaries on wrestling, on wrestlers, on the history of wrestling family. I watched the Von Erich's history in a documentary. I've watched specific wrestlers and how they've come up and where they've went or how they progressed through their life. One that was particularly interesting was Gaia Girls. That one I got a clip from my coach, and from that clip, I decided to watch the whole documentary and learn more about it. Sometimes what happens is I'll fall into a rabbit hole of looking into the specific people that were part of that documentary and learning more about them or in the industry itself. So I do a
Hmm.
lot of wrestling documentaries and watch a lot of that. I find them pretty interesting. It's interesting even to learn about some of the things that you knew about when you were growing up to see the backstory on that,
Hmm.
you know. And then as far as other things like scary stories, I'll watch those sometimes, but for some reason they've kind of, I don't know, I've gotten a little desensitized to them. Not they're not as scary as I'm hoping they are.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There you go. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, yeah. I like watching, all kinds of documentaries. I watch sports ones, true crime. I like watching wrestling ones too. Yeah. What's it on? It's not True TV. Vice TV or whatever.
Sometimes,
Behind the
sometimes I
Dark Side of
catch
the
them up
Ring.
on YouTube because they're just not
Yeah.
available on their website, on the internet, on TV. So I'll see if
Mhm.
YouTube has them. Sometimes Netflix has them. Sometimes Paramount has them.
Mhm.
Sometimes Max has them. So wherever I
Yeah.
can catch it, I typically will sit there and binge watch those.
Yeah, I like also on YouTube Wrestling with Regret. Brian Zane, I watch his thing. Yeah, he's always doing a classic pay per view thing. I love
Mm-hmm.
watching that. What I mean, 'cause he's awesome. I've been watching him for years. Yeah, stuff like that. I do the same thing. I'll find stuff
Yep.
on YouTube. It's like, oh man, I
Yeah.
didn't know this when I was a kid. Oh man, that's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah. You're like,
Okay,
oh, that explains a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
But
like,
then
oh
there's
man,
also
so the Ultimate
movies
Warrior
that I
didn't
like
die,
watching
for
comedy on.
having his arms too tightened up with those bands and stuff. And oh man, yeah, so,
Yeah,
oh man,
yeah, exactly, exactly. And even just
oh man.
watching them progress into movies as well. And then from there, I'll start binge watching the movies they've been in, and I'll enjoy that as well.
Hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, that's awesome. Now, now before I pass it on back to Remy, I do want to say, thank you very much, for taking time out of your busy schedule to come to chat with us. I had a blast. I wish you nothing but the best. I hope tonight, whenever you hit the hay, that both sides of your pillow are cool, and that tomorrow on your way to work or training or whatever, you find like $20 on the side of the road or whatever, for yourself. So,
Well, I
I wish nothing but the
appreciate
best
that
for you and your
manifestation.
family.
I
So,
love that.
all the
Thank
best.
you so much. Thank you. And thank you for having me. I always enjoy talking with folks about wrestling, especially because like I said, it's a business that I enjoy. It's a people business, and a lot of what you're doing is you're engaging with other people and sharing a love of something that you both have in common.
Oh yeah, definitely. Doctor the wife, it was an honor and a pleasure to have you on here. We wish you nothing but the best with your career. When you make it to the big time, don't forget us little people here. And you know, keep on keeping on what you're doing. Right now I know you're definitely inspiring not just women of color, but women of all colors with what you're doing. So keep on keeping on. And I'm gonna add something on to Rob's wishes. I hope you guys. You told me earlier. You told us earlier that you and your husband watch Stardom Wrestling. We hope you get a chance to go to Japan.
Oh, we did.
And oh, you did?
Yeah, we did. We've been 3 times. Every time we go, we watch about 5 or 6 shows. We
Oh
watched
wow.
Marigold's first show ever. We watched
Okay.
them. We've also watched a lot of Stardom in person. Big fans of Bozilla. Oh my goodness! If you ever get to see Bozilla in person, amazing,
You know
amazing.
what I got? I never said this, and Rob is probably going to get pissed at me. So I was in the U.S. Navy, and I was stationed there for 3 years, and it was the greatest time I ever had. I was in Sasebo, which is in the Nagasaki Prefecture,
Mm.
and I went back last year for my birthday,
What
and it
month?
was beg your pardon?
What month were you there?
May. I
Oh,
was there in
we
May.
didn't even okay because we didn't even see each other then because I was there in June.
Yeah, y'all were the month after y'all went the
Hmm.
month after, and then I went back. That was like 5 years after I left. My tour was done over in Japan, so I
Yeah.
went last year, and then I went this year again for my birthday again because I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it again,
And
and
what
I
month
was
did
I
you
was
go
planning on
this
going
year?
to a big pardon?
What month did you go this year?
May again. My birthday's in May.
Oh yes, you did say that. We were there in May.
Oh really? We may have passed each other and didn't even know.
We
Wait,
probably
when
did.
in May though?
Let's see. It was. I think the date was in the teens. I think it was 2 weeks before May ended.
Okay, well I was making my way out of there because I got there May 6th. My
Okay.
birthday is
Okay.
May 7th.
Yeah.
So I got there May 7th, and I was like, actually, I got there May 8th because the whole difference. You pretty much going
Yes.
into the future.
Yes.
So I got there May 8th, and I was thinking about going to Osaka, which is another fun city
Oh yes.
um, that I
Yes.
enjoy. But
Yes.
I was like, I was too tired. Like I was kind of like, yeah, I'm just gonna stay in Tokyo. But as I was getting back, when my week was done, I was getting back. I was walking in Haneda Airport, going back to
Hmm.
flying from there to JFK, and I'm walking. I see this guy that's like, I'm here, and he's like a couple of steps ahead of me. So I'm like, wait a minute, is that who I think it is? And I'm like, nah, it can't be. Is it who I think it is? Rob calls this guy angry Japanese grandpa. And when I looked, I was like, wait, are you who I think you are? Like, I forgot what his name was. He was in Suzuki Gun. Oh, jeez, I'm getting too old, man. But I remembered. Jeez, he always like beats up the young boys in New Japan. I cannot remember for, and it's probably his name is probably gonna come up
Yeah.
when I actually when we're done with this. But he always used to he was in New Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, wait a minute, are you who I think you are? And he's like, yeah, I called his name, and I'm like, wait a minute, you're going to America? He's like, yeah, and I was like, wow, small world, man. But yeah, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Small where I saw him right there and then. I forgot what his name. Rob, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, the murder grandpa. Uh,
Murder Grandpa,
uh,
yeah.
yeah, Suzuki, right?
What was his name?
I think.
Isn't his last name Suzuki?
Geez.
I wonder if he
Suzuki
was
Gun?
actually.
I forget. I just shut my computer off, or I would have looked it up. I
I may
literally
know
just
who
shut
Wait,
it
you're
off.
talking about.
wait, wait, hold on. Let me Minoru Suzuki. That's who I saw.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, you're going to America? He's like, yeah. And then he had a show, I think, in House of Glory around that time. So like a couple of days after, so I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to ask him for a picture because he's on his free time. I didn't want like
Oh yes,
get
he was at the Hana Memorial Show this year.
okay.
Mm-hmm. He was
Yeah, I
wrestling at the
was
Hana Memorial Show this year. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was like, wow, that's amazing. But I'm glad you got that experience. Japan is just a great place, and
Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun. Great people. The wrestling is amazing, especially in person.
yeah. I mean, being a photographer, I like it too because I get to like take so many pictures of like the architectures and so on. So
Yes,
that was like a
yes.
dream place for me. But I'm glad y'all got that. But not to go off the tangent, thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule to be a guest on our show. Thank you for all that you've given, us wrestling fans. We really truly appreciate it. Keep on doing the great work that you're doing. Do me one more favor. Tell DR the husband if he's down, we'd like to have him on the show and talk some wrestling with him as well too. Cause I
All
know it's
right.
gonna be
Well,
a
I'll
great
let him
time.
know. His name is
But
Waldo, by the way. Just like the game that we played as kids. Where's Waldo?
okay.
It
All right,
actually
Waldo, if you're seeing
always.
this, we waiting for you too, brother. So hit us up. But before we shut this show down, where can fans find you on social media when they want to, find out where your next appearances, purchase Doctor the Wife merchandise, and where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows?
Promoters can find me at drthewife@gmail.com. They can email me directly. They can also find me on all socials. You can DM me on Instagram, Doctor the Wife. I'm the only one with that name. Then Facebook, same thing. X, Threads, they can find me there as well as YouTube, Doctor the Wife. But yeah, as far as the upcoming shows, you can check out my Facebook, and I typically post there as well. And don't be afraid to say hi. I'm very approachable. I'm not that kind of person that I don't have merch right now because right now I just enjoy being in the presence of people and taking pictures with them. If ever I do have merch, I'll let you know. But at the moment, you may get a surprise from me here and there if you come up and just say hello.
Yeah, I can testify that. I saw. I was like, you kind of look serious. I was like, should I say hi? I knew she has. One. I'm like, should I say hi? I don't know if I should even bother, giving her our card because I don't know if she's gonna, give me a Stone Cold Stunner or something. And I'm like, then I summoned the nerve. I'm like, let me just go say hi. I mean, it's not like if I'm doing anything crazy. Let me just be respectful, and I did. And thanks for actually, giving us this chance to, you know, hear your story and whatnot. And y'all make sure y'all follow this incredible woman. She's that damn good at what she does. And you never know, you might see her on WWE or AEW, or heck, maybe over in CMLL or Stardom or one of those promotions.
Or
Wrestling is
Marigold or
unpredictable.
somewhere. Yeah, you never know. You can
Yeah.
also. I was on Spark most recently as their ring announcer. I had so much fun with them. Wonderful company. That's one company that definitely 100% has a solid mission and vision for women's wrestling, especially Joshi wrestling. I
Hmm.
think their show most recently was put on Fight, I believe. I could check again,
Yeah.
but great promotion, and they really do believe in what they're doing for Joshi Wrestling.
Yeah, we just had one of the referees, Rosie Jones,
Mm-hmm.
on our show. So yeah, I've seen their clips of their shows. I hope I get to witness one of their shows in person, one of these days.
Yeah,
But
yeah. But thank you also for even just coming up and saying hello. Like I said, I'm very approachable. Um, I in no means try to make myself in a way that people are scared to come and say hello, because that's the entryway to at least getting to know the person, is how they say hello back to you, you know. And I never want to make anybody uncomfortable in being able to do that, because I know what it, you know how when you say don't meet your idols, don't meet your favorite people, you ever, or
yeah.
you've gone to a Comic Con and you finally meet them, and you're just like, oh man, you know, you're not excited. I don't want that
Hmm.
feeling to be what other people feel. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So once again, thank you. We really and truly, like, I'm not just saying, we really and truly are grateful for this opportunity. We wish you nothing but the absolute best
Thank you so
with your
much. Thank
career
you
and
for having
everything.
me on your show as well. And hopefully we can see each other again in the future and talk some more.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. So with that being said, it's about time for us to shut this show down. My eyelids are getting a bit heavy. My stomach is rumbling. That means it's time for dinner and maybe a nap. Who knows? But maybe not in that order. But before I partake in those activities, Rob Bass, the Bubba Ray to my Devon, the Charlie Haas to my Shelton Benjamin, and heck, the Jack Cartwheel. We're gonna update it a bit. The Jack Cartwheel to my Cappuccino Jones. Where can fans find you on social
Mm.
media when they want to talk wrestling? Find out where your next appearance is, purchase Rob Base merchandise, and where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows?
All right, you can find me on Facebook, Rob Base, and then Instagram, Rob_Base82. Wednesday, there's wrestling going to be up at the American Legion in Dover, Delaware. I'm not repping or anything. I'll just be in the crowd, so you can come see me and say hi in the crowd and stuff. And then the 31st of July, 1CW, we're going to be up at the Blue Rock Stadium. We're going to be, doing minor league baseball, minor league baseball and indie wrestling, two things that can go together. You know what I mean? Before the show, we're going to have a couple of matches. They're going to play some baseball, seventh inning stretch, have another match, and at the baseball game, our main event. So, definitely come on out, check it out. Hey, it's minor league baseball. If you ever seen Savannah Bananas and stuff, you know that. And if you are a NASCAR fan, from Thursday to Sunday, you'll see me at the track. You know what I mean? If you see me, on TV or whatever, acting a fool, don't mind me. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's not me, it's my twin brother. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Awesome. Yes, make sure y'all check out 1CW. Those men and women are hella talented. I'm not just saying that. I've seen that in person myself. If you want to find me on social media, not that I say a lot of cool things, but I do go to a lot of cool places. I'm currently in Illinois, and later on this year, I'll be in Surabaya, Indonesia, God willingly.
Ooh,
You can find me
nice.
on Twitter and Instagram at the Remy Blue. Also on TikTok at the Remy Blue as well. And I'm also on Blue Sky at remyblue.bsky.social. And I'm also on Facebook, as you guessed it, Remy Blue. You can find me on those platforms. Our podcast is also on social media. We are on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky at Ringside Society, all across the board. Twitch at Ringside Society 2019. We're on Facebook as a Facebook group. We're also on Spotify, and we're also on Teespring, where we sell official Ringside Society merchandise. We have T-shirts and hoodies right now in several different designs. More designs to come. Or if you just want to if you just want something to, cool to put your coffee in, we have coffee mugs as well too. And last but not least, we have a YouTube channel where you can see cool interviews like this one, like our WWE Evolve predictions, our Saturday Night Main Event predictions, and even our AEW All In predictions. You can see all those episodes on YouTube, and to see them, it's really simple. It's not
Mm.
even pre-algebra. Just go on YouTube, type in Ringside Society, and once you see that really good-looking dark blue and light blue yin yang sound with the blue flames around it, that's when you know it's us. Make sure you subscribe to all our videos because we got a lot of cool stuff coming up, and you don't want to miss a thing like Aerosmith in 1998. As a matter of fact,
Mm-mm.
hey, yo, Rob Bass, should we tell him who we got for tomorrow? Should we tell him?
Let's go.
All right. So tomorrow, same time, same place, we will be having. Matter of fact, we're going to take a trip to the home of Southern Hospitality, Atlanta, Georgia, and we're going to talk with the Crash Out Cutie, Alexandra Quinn. That's right. She'll be joining us tomorrow at 6 o'clock p.m. for all my people in the middle, 7 o'clock p.m. for all my East Coast homies, and West Coast, and 4 o'clock p.m. for all my West Coast riders. That's when we'll be on. So make sure you subscribe to. So make sure you tune in for that interview because she's gonna have a lot to say. And with that being said, we just want to thank everybody tuning in live tonight. Thank you very much. We really and truly appreciate y'all giving us a chance, and we strive on being one of the best wrestling podcasts a wrestling fan could, should, and would listen to. And we're not gonna stop, doing that. To those of you that are gonna listen later on, you get a chance. Thank you very much in advance. And those y'all that hate us, can't stand us, really truly wish we'd go away and just take our merch and whatever else with us. Well, like myself at Golden Corral and Rob Bass at a taco festival, we're not going anywhere for a while.
They hate us because they ain't us.
That's right.
And we ain't stopping.
Mm-mm.
So with that being said, we just want to let everybody know we're very well and aware that everybody and their grandparents and their parents have a podcast. But guess what? We're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. So with that being said, hey, yo, Rob Bass, one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, and one time for the bilingual interviewer, ring announcer, and color commentator who is hella talented, Dr. The Wife.
Woo!
Thank you so much.
What type of podcast are we?
You
We're
are
the
a
Wrestling Fans
fantastic
Podcast.
podcast. You are the number one podcast. Let's do it.
Thank you. We appreciate it. That's right. For those of y'all that didn't heard, we're the Wrestling Fans Podcast. And we'll be back tomorrow with another impressive guest on another impressive episode with another impressive story. But until then, we just have 4 favors for y'all. Stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and enjoy wrestling. We out. Peace.
See y'all. Good night. Stay classy, Delaware.